Hi, I'm Dan Rosenstark with MIDI Designer, and in this video I am going to go over a user question, the question of the day. So the user asks, I want to make a slider built into each key with visual feedback of some kind, even just a colored vertical line, to send key pressure messages and return them to 0 when the key is released. So that's a cool request, and let's see what we can figure out. So I'm in MIDI Designer, I go into design mode, and I've got a default layout here. And I'm not going to use a key at all for this. Instead, I'm going to use a slider. So I'm just going to grab this slider, drag it out, make it a bit bigger so I can play with it. And I'm going to double tap on this slider in design mode. And now I'm in properties, and the first thing that I want to do is I want to go, this is the properties tab, this is the advanced tab, and I want to make it a ribbon strip. Okay, so I'm going to make this one a ribbon strip, and I'm going to bring a second one down here that's not a ribbon strip, so I can show you what that looks like. So this one is not a ribbon strip. Okay, so now we can see the difference. The normal functionality is wherever I touch it, the touch moves relative to there, right? So if I touch it here, the value doesn't jump until I move, and then it starts moving relative to where you put your finger down. That's the normal behavior in MIDI Designer for sliders. This, what did we call this? This ribbon strip functionality works like this. Wherever I touch it, it jumps to that value, right? So that's the first thing that we need to do for this exercise is we want a thing that'll jump to a value. And the next thing that we want to do is I go back into design mode, and I do want it to drop down to its 0 value. So the next thing I do is I go into advanced, and here is snap to default value. So I'm just going to bring this up to something really low. It could be 0. I'm going to make it 25 milliseconds just for fun. And I exit design mode. And now wherever I touch it, it snaps back pretty quickly to its default value. Now there are two things. One is I don't want it to move back slowly, I want it to move back immediately. And the other thing is that the default value isn't right, it should be 0. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into design mode, get back here, change its snap to default value to 0 milliseconds. So that should be good. And then I'm going to go into the MIDI tab, and I'm going to change the default value from 64, which is halfway up, and I'm gonna just put it at 0. There we go, apply. And now wherever we touch it, it drops down to 0. Okay, that's pretty good. And now let's take care of this last thing. The user asks for key pressure messages. So let's see if MIDI Designer does that. So I go into more, design mode, double tap on this control, and it's a MIDI control. And it's MIDI properties, and I'm going to go into the type of MIDI message, so message type, and instead of control change, node on, node off, NERPins, bank change, program change, bank select, pitch bend, sysx, channel aftertouch, or aftertouch. So he's actually talking about aftertouch. That's what he calls key pressure, is aftertouch. So I'm going to hit apply there and exit out of design mode. And now I've got one control that works in the way that I want it to. And now what I'm going to do is, if I need to replicate it, once I'm done creating it, just double tap on that and go to actions. Don't make a copy. A copy will be another instance of the exact same control, just that control to put it another place. We don't want that. We want to use make similar. And what make similar will do is we'll get another control, and let's just compare them, right? So I go in here to the new control. It's sending aftertouch on channel 1. The data 1 is 5, which is we call the CC is 5. And in my other control, it's also 1.5. So it didn't increment there. So it says that it's not unique. So we're going to go to something different. We're going to change it to 8. And now we've got the next one. Okay. And I can't put 2 fingers down with my mouse here, but if this were happening on a real iPad, you would be able to touch them independently, as many of them as you want. So you could have 12 of them or 25 of them. You don't have that many fingers, but it's multi-touch as much as you need it to be. So this answers the question of the day. Once again, to recap, the question was, I want a slider built into each key with some visual feedback to send key pressure messages and snap back to 0. So what we did was we took a slider, we changed it, we made it a, what is this word of the day? A ribbon strip, I think. An advanced, there it is, it's a ribbon strip. So again, we took a slider, we made it into a ribbon strip, we made its snap to default value in advanced go at 0 milliseconds, and then we changed the default value to 0, and then we changed the MIDI message type to aftertouch. And that's pretty much the entire answer to the question, and now we'll send it out to the user and see what we get back. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks for checking out MIDI Designer.